So it seems like everyone is racing to implement enterprise AI. But here's the thing. Most of these projects, they're basically destined to fail, becoming these costly, chaotic disasters. So how do you beat those odds? Well, today, we're going to break down a proven 90-day roadmap that just cuts through all that chaos and gives you a clear, actionable plan for success. First, let's just wrap our heads around the scale of this, because it is absolutely massive. We are in an AI gold rush. The enterprise market is set to just explode from a little over $20 billion today to a projected $150 billion by 2030. That's not just a trend, it's a complete rewiring of how business works. But where there's gold, there's always immense risk. And that risk, well, it's pretty much all captured in this one single number, 95%. That's right. A staggering 95% of generative AI pilots fail. They deliver zero measurable impact. Now, this isn't a failure of the technology itself, it's a failure of execution. And that is the exact problem we are here to solve. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to diagnose the failure. Then we'll walk through the entire 90-day playbook for success, from building the foundation all the way to measuring your final ROI. Let's start with the diagnosis. Why on earth is that failure rate so incredibly high? The number one killer of AI projects, it actually has a name: AI theater. This is when we chase those flashy demos that look super impressive on a big screen, but have absolutely no real connection to how the business actually runs. It's treating AI like it's some kind of magic trick, instead of what it really is, a serious software engineering challenge. And this data shows just how much that execution strategy matters. I mean, look at this. Internal teams building from scratch, they have a success rate of only about 33%. They often just don't have that specialized MLOps expertise. Now, compare that to vendor-led projects, which nearly double the success rate to 67%. Why? Because they bring that focused expertise and they integrate the AI directly into business operations. Okay, enough about the problem. Let's pivot to the solution. This is the playbook for the 5% that actually succeed. The entire roadmap is broken down into 3 really distinct 30-day sprints. Days 1 to 30, you build your data foundation. Days 31 to 60, you prototype and pilot. And days 61 to 90, you move to production and you scale. It's a disciplined, structured process that, well, it simply works. So let's break down phase 1, those first 30 days. This is the foundation, and make no mistake, it is the most critical part of the entire process. If you get this wrong, everything that comes after it will fail. Simple as that. And this is why. It's the oldest rule in computing, and honestly, it is more true for AI than for anything else. An AI model is only as good as the data it's trained on. You can't just point it at a messy, chaotic system and expect to get gold. So that first month is a deep, rigorous data audit. I mean, forget about flashy user interfaces. Your engineers should be living in your databases. They're hunting for inaccuracies, they're filling in missing pieces, and they're making sure every single piece of data is consistent and reliable. This isn't just cleaning, it's building the solid ground your AI is going to stand on. This phase is also about making key architectural choices, and a big one is the database. A lot of teams are moving to PostgreSQL for AI. So why? Well, in short, it's built for modern data. It can handle all that messy, unstructured information that really powers AI, and because it's open source, it saves you from massive licensing fees down the road. It's a choice that gives you flexibility and controls cost. So, with a rock-solid data foundation in place, now we can move into the next 60 days, building the pilot and scaling it up to production. This is where the model really comes to life. So how do you build this properly? With what's called a modern MLOps pipeline. Just think of it like a high-tech assembly line for AI. You start with agile methods to build and test in really fast cycles. Then you use a tool like Docker to put your AI model in a standard shipping container, so it runs the exact same way everywhere. And finally, you use Kubernetes as your automated logistics system, managing and scaling thousands of these containers without any human intervention. It's how you go from being a science project to a real industrial strength system. Now, once your model is in production, the work isn't over, not even close. You have to fight against something called model drift. This is so critical to understand. AI is not a set-it-and-forget-it tool. As the real world changes, your model's predictions will actually get worse over time, unless you have a process for continuous monitoring and retraining. Okay, we've built the foundation and deployed the model. Now for the most important part for any business leader. What is the actual payoff? And the results from a disciplined plan? They're substantial. The data shows that 2/3 of organizations see major productivity gains. Over half report better decision-making, and a huge 40% achieve hard cost reductions just by automating back-office tasks and reducing overhead. I mean, these are real, tangible benefits. But this is the number that should get every leader's attention. The time to a positive return on investment? As little as 2.4 months. Think about that for a second. For a major technology initiative, that kind of payback is, well, it's almost unheard of. So it all really comes down to this. The 95% that fail, they see AI as a magic trick. The 5% that succeed, they treat it as an engineering discipline. The question you have to ask is not if you will do AI, but how. Are you going to build a powerful collaborator that drives real value? Or are you just going to be funding another piece of expensive AI theater?